Welcome back to the channel, guys. Or should I say, welcome back to the classroom. We're here to talk about Classroom of the Elite episode 6. And I want to stress this right now. It might not seem like it in this episode, because the anime absolutely rushed through shit. But this is one of the most significant episodes that we're actually going to have. You could truly consider this episode the catalyst of things to change and come. Things changing with Horikita, things changing with the class, and things changing with Ayanokoji. So let's just get into it and talk about Classroom of the Elite episode 6 today. Now, I say things are rushed because they are. The whole sports festival was super rushed, guys. There was 13 events in total, if I remember correctly, and we literally only saw like 3. They rushed through so much content because they had a lot to cover. And this episode was no exception. We flew through things because we had to get to a couple main topics. First would be Horikita, and that's where our episode begins, with her running after Pseudo to try to get him to come back to the festival. Now, I want to stress this, because I feel like some people might misconstrue or think, oh, is this something blooming between them? No, not at all. There's no romance going on whatsoever. Not even remotely. That would be such a terrible pairing anyway, but no. This was her listening to Ayanokoji's words in our previous episode about him calling her useless, and that if she truly wants to move up to Class A, that she has to learn to understand to get people on her side. So that's exactly what she does, is she tries to appeal to Pseudo to come back. And in this instance, Pseudo is just completely down on himself. He's saying, I can't do this. Everyone else around me drags me down. They're all losers. If it was just me, I could excel in something like this. But I'm dragged down by all these people with me. And Horikita's like, oh, it's understandable for you to be mad that you're losing in what you excel in. But that doesn't make you a loser, you know? And Pseudo's like, I've always been a loser, you know? My parents have been losers, and because of that, I'm a loser. And Horikita flat out tells him, like, that's not the case. It's up to you to decide who you are as a person. It's up to you to decide whether you're going to be a loser or not. And if you keep sitting here doing nothing, then you really will be a loser. You will be worthless. But Pseudo just absolutely won't hear it. He's just completely and utterly just detached. He's like, I don't care. I don't want to get lectured right now. I'm going back to my room. Which he does. And Horikita stubbornly says, if you do that, I'm not leaving here without you. I'm not going back to everyone without you coming with me. So I'm going to wait right here for you to come back. And as he's leaving, she does. She waits right then and there, stubbornly, and does not move a muscle. Now it's here that we transition to Kushida and Ayanokoji. Now, I've said since the jump, guys, I never liked Kushida. Even before we saw this side of her, I did not like her. She is shady beyond belief. So her and Ayanokoji are actually doing the co-ed 3-legged race, which we didn't see. Again, they skipped through that stuff, but the race itself is not important. The conversation they have is, though, where she's tying them up and Ayanokoji tells her, all right, cut the act, Kushida. We're done here. Cut the act. I know that you were the one that leaked our participation information to Class C. And obviously she's going to deny that. Like, no, why would you think that? I thought we'd been over this already, Ayanokoji. I would never do something like that. And Ayanokoji flat out tells her, like, I saw you take pictures of this. I saw you take pictures of it on your phone, even though you know we were prohibited from doing that. That was a complete and utter violation of the rules. She's like, I forgot, sorry. Dumb stuff like that. And Ayanokoji, being the guy he is, he's like, well, why don't I go ask Sai? Why don't I go ask our teacher if anyone checked the information afterwards? And it's at this moment that Kushida drops the act. Or not necessarily drops the act, but tells him, yeah, okay, maybe I did do it. So what? Well, even if I did do it, couldn't you just have withheld the information until the last second? And Ayanokoji tells her there's no point in doing that, because if the traitor was from Class D already, then there would be no point. The information would leak regardless. So Kushida tells him, yeah, I did it. I did do it. And Ayanokoji says, I understand the reason why you did it, but I want to know why you want to do it so bad that you would betray your class. And Kushida reveals that, yeah, my goal is to expel Horikita. My goal in all of this is just to expel Horikita, to get her out of here. And we'll explain that a little bit later. But she tells Ayanokoji that, once she's gone, I'm willing to work with everyone in the Class A to get the Class A. But I want her gone no matter what. And she tells Ayanokoji in this moment that, once she's gone, I'm coming after you. I think I've added you to my list of people I want gone. I'm going to expel you too, Ayanokoji. And she makes that vow right then and there. Because she really doesn't have an interest in going to Class A. She just wants Horikita and Ayanokoji gone. They are the only thorns in her side. Some of the only people that know of her other personality, her real self, I'd argue. And for her to continue, she needs them gone. But it's here that we transition back to Pseudo and Horikita after Kushida threatens Ayanokoji like that. And Pseudo's like, wow, I can't believe you actually sat and waited. Because as he comes back down to the lobby, Horikita's still there, still waiting. And this episode is really kind of a Horikita episode, It really showcases her growth in this scene. It might not seem like it in the anime, but in the light novel, she substantially grows from this. Even though the anime might have rushed through it. She tells Pseudo that, me and you are actually a lot alike, now that I've sat here and thought about it to ourselves. We're always alone. We're always striving for people to notice us. And she starts telling him about her brother. That she's constantly spent her entire time chasing after him. That her goal is to be accepted by him and to be noticed by him. And that she's just an utterly worthless person. But in this moment, she finally realizes that. And understands that I can't do everything alone. As much as I want to do everything on my own, I'm not able to do that. That's not how we're going to reach Class A. If we want that to happen, truly want that to happen, we have to do it together. And it's like this moment that she accepts Pseudo, telling him that if you ever stray from the path again, I'll be there to keep you in check. And you hopefully with me as well. And she extends a hand to him and says, until we graduate, won't you help me? And like I said, guys, there's no romance here whatsoever. At least not from Horikita's side. There's no romance at all. This is her listening to what Ayanokoji said in our previous episode about not letting a tool go to waste. She may not like Pseudo like that, but now she understands that he is an indispensable member of their class. For all his faults, he is arguably the most athletic person in their school. Probably one of the top 5. His physical abilities are almost second to none in their school. He is an indispensable tool. And with Horikita finally accepting him as a person, she has an indispensable tool in her arsenal now. Because Pseudo accepts right then and there. He's like, I don't understand why your words hit so hard all of a sudden. But he's like, I finally feel like I have someone who has noticed me outside of basketball, who's actually paid attention to me. And he's like, I'll help you, Horikita. And it really showcases how much Horikita has grown, man. You think she would do this in season 1? Hell no. She's definitely started to change over the course of our season. And we'll get into that. But They head back to the sports festival because we're on the final event, the relay race. And Sudo apologizes to everyone, of course. And he asks them, I know I started all these problems, but I'm here now. I'm here to help. Let me race. So we get into the race. And it turns out that another student actually bowed out. Because Horikita could not race because of her foot. So Kushida took her place. And then another student actually bowed out. And funny enough, Ayanokoji takes his place. And he was the anchor. So Ayanokoji is actually racing against Horikitas Brother. And the anime did not do this scene justice. I'll just flat out tell you guys that. The anime did not do this scene justice whatsoever. Not really. They cut their conversation incredibly short and cut out a lot of finer details. But for the most part, they kept the important stuff in, I suppose. Where they're facing each other, and Horikitas Brother tells him that, you know, I've been watching your class this whole time. Until now, it felt like there was no way you guys would ever progress. You guys were a bunch of losers and in a huge mess. But it doesn't feel that way anymore. Would you care to explain why? And Ayanokoji says, at least in the anime, he says that, you know, if anything's changed in our class, I'd say it's your sister who's changed the most. She's finally starting to come into her own and realize that she can't do everything by herself. And her brother obviously doesn't say anything, but it hits hard. Let me tell you that. It's significant to him. He cares about that, even if he won't let on. But Ayanokoji starts talking to him in this instant. Because Ayanokoji says that our class will get stronger, but you might not be here to see it. That's something he said in the light novel, guys. And he vows to him, our class will get stronger, no matter what. And the president says, I have no use for hypothetical situations. And Ayanokoji tells him, all right, well, would you like to see who I really am? And that's a scary thing. And he tells him, like, why don't you race against me right here, right now? I guess I could be convinced to do an actual race against you where I go all out. All out, guys. And the president's like, interesting. So when his baton actually comes and he has to race, he actually stands there and waits for Ayanokoji's team to do it. For Kushida to come and hand him the baton so they could run. He takes Ayanokoji's challenge. And they're just staring each other down. And Ayanokoji has one warning for him before the race. He tells him, run as fast as you can. They both get their batons and they're off. And guys, they are so much faster than everyone else. It's not even funny. They were both in dead last at the end. And they zoomed past everyone. To say that Ayanokoji has been holding back this entire time is an unbelievable understatement, guys. He's probably one of the fastest people here, guys, if not the fastest. And Horikitas Brother is keeping pace with him. And they zoom past everyone. And we get a little monologue scene where Ayanokoji says that, you know, in my entire life, I've never once ran all out in front of anyone. I've never once actually tried to run in front of anyone. And in this moment, I'm going to go even faster. Showcasing that he was still holding back against Horikitas Brother. Just showcasing that Ayanokoji, man, is a shrewd guy. Let me tell y'all, he's shrewd. He don't reveal nothing. But this scene's a double-edged sword. Because they don't showcase this in the anime. But this scene is the catalyst to get people to finally notice Ayanokoji. To get people to be like, oh, wait a minute. Who is this guy in Class D? We've overlooked him until now. Who is this guy all of a sudden appearing? It was a double-edged sword. While doing this to judge Horikitas Brother's opinion of him and to see how he was really like, he kind of revealed himself a little bit to the other classes. And we'll see more of that soon. But unfortunately in the anime, we flash forward to them in the classroom looking at the results. And Class D is in last place. They still lost pretty badly. But we see everyone congratulating Ayanokoji, saying, wow, you were fast. What the hell was that? Why were you so fast, dude? Everyone is taken aback by him. And Ayanokoji's just like, everyone else was just slow. And Horikita even calls him a liar in this instance, because she knows she's holding back, and even tells him that if you'd have just done this from the beginning, we would have been in a different situation. And they definitely would have been. They probably would have won if Ayanokoji was actually trying in all these situations. But she tells him, it's strange. I feel kind of happy in this situation. Thank you for everything you said today. Because he really gave her a lot of grief in this episode, in the previous episode, guys. But he lit that fire in her. And let me tell you guys, this was Ayanokoji's plan the whole time. Again, the anime does not tell you this, but his plan the entire time, the reason he didn't reveal the traitor, even though he already knew the traitor was there, was because he wanted Horikita to find out about the traitor and deal with it herself. This entire thing, his entire reason for doing all of this, was so that Horikita could taste defeat and grow from it. That was his entire goal from this ordeal. And it worked. He didn't have any intention of winning from the beginning. His only intention was to make Horikita a better person and a better leader in the process. And it worked. And she thanks him for it. But it's here that she goes and meets with Ryun. Because we have to address what happened last week, where he wants 1,000,000 points from her and he wants her to grovel. And she goes there, and Kushida ends up being with him, actually. And before they even start talking, Horikita just tells her, alright, cut the act, Kushida, we're done. No one else is here. Stop pretending. Cut the act. I know you were the one that leaked the information to Class C. I know it was you. And of course Kushida tries to play dumb. But Horikita reveals that, I didn't remember until now. But I do, in this moment. You were in the same middle school as me. And this is the first time we see Kushida stop smiling and reveal her true self. And guys, I don't like Kushida. She is a two-faced SOB, man. Let me tell you. She finally drops the act and her real personality comes to light. Yeah, I did. And I want you expelled, Horikita. My whole goal in this is to expel you and get you out of here. For me to be the person I am now, I need to make sure that no one in my past is around still. I'm going to expel you no matter what. Even if I have to make a deal with the devil to do it. And Ryun just kind of smiles at that. He knows. And Horikita starts talking to Ryun in that instance. Wow, so you really did all this to win, huh? And Ryun actually starts revealing his strategy. Yeah, I did. I did all of this just to put you down. I don't care about this sports festival. I just wanted to break you in particular. And he starts explaining his plans to her. And Horikita's like, should you be telling me all this? I'm recording this conversation after all. Thinking that she completely got the upper hand on him. But of course, this was within his view. He knew it was happening, and he recorded their conversation from the beginning. Because he even started the conversation saying, this is all hypothetical, of course. And Horikita says, well, I can just cut that part out and tell the school that you did this. But he recorded the whole conversation, so she couldn't do that. And she is thoroughly backed in a corner, and he demands her to start groveling right then and there. But before she does, Ryun gets a message on his phone. And guys, Ayanokoji is a savage. You think... This is like that one meme with the astronauts, where someone's standing there, and then the other astronaut has a gun behind them, and then someone has a gun behind them, and then someone has a gun behind them. That's that's literally Horikita, then you have Kushida, then you have Ryun, and then you have Ayanokoji standing behind everyone. He orchestrated this entire thing. Because he reveals that he has Ryun's conversation with his class, going into excruciating detail about how he was going to cheat, how he set Horikita up, and the way to do it. And Ryun just starts laughing in this situation. Like, the person pulling your strings, Horikita, is truly something special. He orchestrated all of this. He played us all like a book. And he even tells Kushida, who is enraged by this, like, you were fooled, Kushida. He used you. He knew you were the traitor the whole time, and he used you to get this outcome. So, Ryun, actually quite amused with this situation, tells Horikita, you know, I think we'll end it right here. I very much want to know who's pulling your strings, Horikita. This person is something special. And that is how our episode ends, actually, with Ryun and Kushida running off with their tails between their legs. And, guys, we were actually supposed to get another, I'd argue, even more significant scene at the end of this episode. But I believe we will get it at the beginning of next episode. And I won't spoil it for you guys, but the girl I mentioned last week, Sakiyanagi, is a very key player in that. We'll leave it at that. But what did you guys think of this episode, you know? Just that Ayanokoji is just an utter savage, guys, and played everyone from the very beginning. He knew how everything would play out, and he had this plan orchestrated before the sports festival even began. So what do you think about this episode? Yes, they cut some content. They cut a lot, actually. But it was still an entertaining little arc that we had. So let me know in the comments what you guys thought about this. This is a longer video than usual, but I really wanted to stress to you guys the stuff that they cut. Now that I'm completely caught up and remember all the stuff that happened, like, I wanted to get you guys informed about stuff. And to let you know that we ain't seen nothing yet. We ain't seen nothing yet. So get prepared. But that'll be it for today's episode, guys. You know, again, great episode of Classroom of the Elite. Really reminding me of why I love this series. But I hope you guys have a great rest of your day, week, month, and year. And until next time, deuces, have a blessed day. And remember, look behind your shoulder. There could be someone with like Ayanokoji there with a gun, playing you like a fiddle. Until next time, guys. I'll see ya.